How's this sound? Yeah.
That's hard. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. How's this sound? Yeah.
That's hard. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to listen to.
It does have like an emergency vibe to it.
Emergency.
Amber Alert type.
Hey,
beat.
fuck that shit.
He said Amber Alert type.
What? Hold on.
Brains going crazy on the beat.
I thought that cheesecake was good. I'm gonna feel my brain slime those pieces. You had to hang up back there. Feel my brain slime those pieces.
Trapaholics, we're addicted to trapping and fentanyl. kill yourself.
Feet touchdown. Feet touchdown. Feet touch. Feet touch. It's time for your Thursday kickback about all things rap. No feature and pass with your host
Troydashow.
And Lucid the Dreamwaker, and this is the Therapyard Podcast.
Yo.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Rap Yard. This week's sound effects are brought to you by my vocal cords.
Yeah, I don't have my. I did have sort of like a epiphany. I could try doing my Serato because all my sound effects are in there. I don't know what this is going to do to the stream though. We'll find out.
Uh-oh. If your computers or laptops blow up, it wasn't me. It was for the show.
Well, I mean, if it acts up, we can switch. You know, everybody that was affected by Hurricane Beryl. Hope everybody's safe and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And today we have a special guest who is I've been following on TikTok for quite some time, like before the show even. A few years before that, I started following him because I saw one of his videos about like different plants and stuff you can find in your backyard in the southeast region of the United States. And that you can use for like healing stuff, like things that cure headaches and whatnot, and antibacterial plants and things like that. It's pretty cool. Did you know actually that DMT? You know what DMT is, right?
Yeah.
It grows. It's a element or whatever, a compound that's found in like so many plants that odds are you have some growing in your backyard.
Oh, I did not know.
I didn't learn that from him. Yeah, he might have had a video on that. I don't remember, but or I didn't see it if he did. But I'm trying to connect my
time to start like DMT harvesting.
Some people do try to do that, and then some people do poison themselves. But
okay, I'm gonna back away from that.
Well, anyway, without further ado, let's bring him out. Zookeeper.
Peace.
Greetings. Yep. How are you?
All is well in yourself.
Pretty good. What you working on there?
I'm not sure yet. I think I'm gonna do some dolomite tonight.
Dolomite, all right. That is like a dark, like a gemstone, is it, or what is it considered?
Yeah, dolomite is a mineral gemstone.
Okay.
I'm just trying to decide if I want to do the dolomite or not. But I think that's what it's going to be tonight.
Okay.
I've never heard of it before.
You've heard of Dolomite the movie, right?
Yeah, that's what my first thought was. But I was like, I'm sure there's some other references going on.
Yeah.
But it can be like it's like this would be more of the mineral form of it.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, yeah.
But then this would be more of like a
finished
gemstone that could be wrapped and made into a pendant.
Okay, that's nice. I like that.
But it's the same mineral, just different forms of it.
Right. I have a whole bunch of rocks sitting right here where I thought they were. I was hoping you could help me identify. You do a lot of. Well, I was talking about your nutritional stuff that you're, that I started following you based on, but you do a lot more than that. You do jewelry and different things that you can wear and just different like things that you can put. I mean, you can go ahead and explain it probably better than I could.
Well, for me, it's all about holistic health. So, holistic meaning like the whole picture.
Right.
Of what health can be or what it would mean. Like, how do you sustain health? So, I'm technically certified in nutrition. I did that about 10 years ago. Then I'm certified in herbs as a herbalist, but I focused on medicine making. Was my courses that I took, and I'm certified in raw food. So those are my certifications. But then over the years, I've became a farm-to-table chef, focusing on plant-based cuisine, and I've worked with like about 35 farms to date.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
And then from there, COVID happened, a lot of those things I just mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
COVID, right? It slowed everything down.
Right.
Yeah.
And I had already went gemstone mining. So while I had time on my hands, I started to wrap some gemstones, put a few pieces online. They sold the same day. One thing led to another. I started going to school for lapidary arts.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
So being that it's a full body, I mean the holistic. Really, what it means is the whole body, the whole everything. It's like a balance, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And so, how does
Even
like
meditation, like, you
Mm-hmm.
know, like people don't think of all of the gambits or all of these different layers and pieces, but it could be just grounding outside.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to
yeah,
be diet or herbs or
Yeah.
something prescribed. It's just trying to figure out how can you feel whole, health wise. What do you need to do?
yeah,
Um, so even gemstones, yoga, all of these different things are a part of the picture, and
Mm-hmm.
most people need at least 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them to
right,
be whole,
yeah,
and not just healthy for a few, and then they go back into being sick again. The key is to sustain health. If we talk about sustainability, but how many of us sustain health?
right.
Right.
Like to
Right.
have it and to keep it.
I think that's a big component of mental health that a lot of people don't really maybe want to address because that's a big thing now. More so than it was in years past. Is taking care of your mental health, and
Mm-hmm.
And
your
that's
physical health plays into your mental health.
yeah, and that's something that the same thing. It's like how do you have it and keep it,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's this saying of like he lost his mind,
Yeah.
Right.
she lost her mind, right? My grandmother used to say, "The world's so crazy you could go to bed and wake up dead."
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm.
was like, as a little boy, I never got it. I'm like, how the hell you gonna go to bed?
And wake up
But if you
dead.
wake up dead,
Yeah.
then I mean, how did you wake up if you was dead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what she was saying. You could lose yourself in the process of just that short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You went to bed with a sane mind and woke up outside of sanity.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right.
And whatever that means. I mean, because they play games. So,
Yeah.
when they say reality and sanity, it's like we got to even question what that is as far
Exactly.
as what we've been offered.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. I think about that a lot, like society wise, like what we or your community really determines is acceptable or not acceptable. So much of it is like doesn't even really make sense for an individual or even like a family or a small group. It's more just like what's expected of you, and we
Right.
we
Right.
tend to fall into that, so much.
Yeah. And you got to be real careful because, I mean, if you're doing what others expect of you, does that still encompass what you want to do?
Right,
Right.
or what's best for you.
That's
Yeah.
right. And nine times out of 10, they're not the same.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna turn my fan off because I feel like it's really loud.
I didn't hear it.
I actually have mine on too. I don't know how loud it is, but
Yeah,
We all have our fans on.
yeah, I'm sure we do. Is that
Yeah,
better though?
for
I feel like it's better. Yeah, for me anyway. But yeah, so how do like metals and gemstones affect your physical well-being?
well, there's tons of ways. But where can we start? I guess if we talk about metal, let's just start with copper, just because I have copper in front of me. But I do work with silver as well, sterling silver.
And we
Um,
have these elements in our body. We eat, you know, things or breathe or drink whatever.
that's
There's
right.
yeah,
People take colloidal silver for
Right.
health, colloidal copper, even there's colloidal gold. So yeah, they can work on that level as something that's taken internally for health. Like you said, the components are throughout nature, and whether the soil or the food that grows from the soil, or even if you're eating animal, the animal ate plant that came from soil, which had those same minerals. So they actually are a part of us. Um, but it goes so far. I mean, like copper pairs, so different metals pair with different planets, even. Then that goes further into zodiac and astrology. But something like copper pairs with Venus. And so then what does that mean, right? Venus is over love.
Right.
So when we talk about the hip hop community, disenfranchised communities, impoverished communities, we know there's a lot of lack of love. So to work with copper, when copper pairs with Venus and Venus pairs with love, that's another way, right, that it can help us. But then gemstones scientifically are considered sentient beings. You know, a sentient being is something that can understand, perceive, feel, and communicate.
Right.
And scientifically, they're proven to be sentient beings. So, you know, you can take that for what it's worth, or everybody perceives it differently. It's like a Picasso painting.
Yeah.
Right. And like, if you look at it, you see it one way, he sees it one way, I see it one way, Rex sees it another way, John Robinson sees it another way, Nejma sees it another way. Like, we all see it in different ways. And, you know, so I don't try to push anything on anyone, but I have a very close relationship with metals and gemstones, crystals, and just, I call it ancient technology in modern times, because we can go back through all of these different times and eras, and we'll see in different places. You say, oh, well, let's just say it's the Bible Belt. I live in Georgia, so for the sake of me living in the Bible Belt, we'll talk about the Bible. But there were the 12 stones of the breastplate. They talked about it in the Bible. That this breastplate, this armor piece on the chest, had these 12 sacred stones, which each stone represented a different tribe for the 12 tribes. Right. So this is what I said. Somebody can see it that way, or somebody can go back to Africa and say that King Tut, his sarcophagus was inlaid with, you know, lapis and malachite. Or we can look at the Djed pillar and see that they were using certain types of copper, and even the pyramids themselves, the tools that were used to make the actual pyramids, knowing that I don't believe that there were only tools used. I believe that we understood better when we talk about our clairs. You know, so like the clairs, clairvoyance, and clair this, and clairaudience, and
I got you.
So many different clairs. But when we were able to tap into those, we could communicate differently. You could speak without speaking. You could receive and transmit different messages, and we were able to move, levitate ourselves and objects. But there were still tools used. And that's, once again, just my belief system. So if someone thinks that it was only done with tools, well, the tools that were used were definitely made from copper. And they had a so-called factory that would be able to repair the tools almost 24/7. So a worker could just come in and say, my tools is busted, and either get them repaired or get a new set, so that they could continue the production of the pyramid. And we're talking about the Great Pyramids, right? Like because there's so many throughout Kush and all of the other empires that even came before those.
Well, that
So,
was a lot.
I mean, there's just so many different ways. I mean, that these crystals and gemstones are connected to us, but they're all through our, like what we would say, like your lineage. It's like it's been here for so long and been used for so long, and then they can use them in industrial uses, like something like a blue kyanite is or black kyanite is used for locomotive brakes.
Oh, really? I didn't know
You
that.
know what I mean? So as you start to study the gemstones, you could see how the same use that you could use the gemstone for, it just enhances the use in the industrial scene.
World.
Mm.
So you say, oh, well, what does black kyanite do? Well, it protects, and it's almost like an amulet. Amulet would mean like a way to keep something away from you,
Mm.
almost like a break.
Mm-hmm.
It's like stop.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
But if the gemstone is known to help do that, it just baffles me that then in an industrial sense, we can use it to stop one of the fastest things moving, a locomotive.
Right.
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 Yeah,
So
the irony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's all connected. But we just have to believe enough of how much it's connected. That's the same thing. It's the perception of every person can choose how much they believe. But you only have a short amount of time. Life is so short.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
So
true.
I advise people to wake up and focus and do what you want to do more now while you have a
Yeah.
chance, opportunity. Seize the moment.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting almost just because the world says this and the church says that, and I don't know where I need to be right now, and
Yeah.
before you know it, you don't waste your time. Instead of just
Exactly.
getting it done, doing it now. The time is now.
Right.
We are the ones that we're waiting on.
Right. Perfect.
We'll be grandparents before you know it. Like we'll
Right.
be somebody's grandparent. But to
Why you
think that
still
we
with?
were children looking up to grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's
that's what
crazy.
every older person that you talk to says the same thing. Oh, life goes by so fast, and appreciate it while you're. They all say the same thing, and nobody listens.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
to only get
Life is
faster.
definitely fast, and nobody's granted a long life. That's the point.
No.
That some people
Right.
think, oh, I have time. Well, how do you know?
You don't.
Yeah.
How much
Yes.
time you have? How do you know?
I've always thought
Please
I
let
like
me know how you know so I can figure out. You know what I'm saying?
right.
None of us really know. So to seize the moment and just almost do what you want to do as long as it's not going to harm anyone,
Right.
to me is the key right now.
Yeah. You mentioned your grandmother, and I know she was kind of an inspiration for you to. Well, not kind of, but she was a big inspiration for you, right? To get started on the cooking side of things.
Well, yeah, my grandmother catered, and I was that little boy that almost was always in the kitchen when she catered. So I
Hmm.
would be like a unofficial test taster.
Yeah.
And under the table, almost stealing snacks and things off the table, or
Yeah.
certain ingredients. I remember one day I said, you use this vanilla all the time, and I've had vanilla ice cream and different vanilla. I think we had it wasn't Laffy Taffy. What was it? Charleston Chew. I think they came in vanilla. You had the
Mm.
chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. Was it Charleston Chews?
Mm-hmm.
Um, So just as a child, I remember like the taste of a vanilla Charleston Chew, Breyers, a vanilla ice cream when you could see the little vanilla beans in the ice cream, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Ice pops from the ice cream man. So I seen vanilla and I said, well, you cook with this vanilla all the time. I love vanilla, let me taste this vanilla extract. And she
Yeah.
was like, boy, you better stop. You
Mm.
don't want none of this. I'm like, I definitely want to try it. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
Grandma, don't hate on me. That's how I felt. Like she was hating on me. Like,
Yeah.
let me try the vanilla. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Let me
what's
get
the
a taste.
problem? So
Yeah.
she was like, you sure? I was like, I'm sure. I need some vanilla in my life. Man, I took that vanilla extra, pure vanilla extract, not the imitation.
Hmm.
Thank you, my face.
Oh wow, you drinking like a shot?
I was
Oh no.
it all over everything.
Yeah.
And she laughed so hard. But yeah, I
Yeah.
learned my lessons in the kitchen with her. You know what I mean? Things like that even taught me from an early start of like what is vanilla extract.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You
Did
know,
she use a lot of like all natural ingredients and things like that? Like everything was from
that's the
scratch?
crazy part. Not really. I mean, she
Okay.
cooked in a sense of like fresh vegetables,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, it was more of that antebellum mindset as far as food. So, um, you know, a lot of meats, though they weren't as processed,
Mm-hmm.
but Jersey was big for delicatessens. So
Mm-hmm.
we still ate a lot of processed meat, though she
Is that
didn't
where you're
cook
from originally?
originally from Jersey.
Okay, okay. Cool.
So, yeah, but then she had a garden for some time, so she would cook from what she grew in the garden, of course. Um, when she got older, she couldn't man the garden anymore, so we just got it from the regular store, like everybody else, the
Right.
grocery market. But then she still had friends that might have had gardens that might bring a bushel of beans over or some tomatoes over or whatever. So I did get a chance to see kind of a local food system within my community and
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
within my home. But she definitely wasn't the healthiest. She just cooked out of love and
Right.
she didn't really focus on nutrition. It was just like good food out of love.
Right.
Right.
And you took that and mixed your passion of health and holistic living in with what she taught you.
Exactly. Yep. I had no choice because I didn't want to almost betray her in the sense of I felt like the work that she did should be highlighted, but almost I'm ashamed to because you use too much of the ingredients that I take her casserole and I took the egg out,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
and before I used to make a substitute egg, but now you can just go get some just egg,
Right.
right?
Right.
And I'm cutting it to the proportion of how much egg, but using the just egg, knowing that's from chickpea.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then like butter, right? Cutting part
Right.
of
Yep.
that out, maybe adding some coconut oil or some vegan butter for
Yeah.
convenience. But when you look at these ingredients and you look at the health end of it from the nutritional fact standpoint, they're definitely healthier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, just trying to put a healthy twist on like what she brought to the table.
That's
Right.
awesome.
I
And
mean, I
then
think a lot of that.
at some point still having that mindset of an MC, right? Of like what you said, like kind of putting my own twist on it, but it took me a while to do that. It was like at first, let's just highlight
Yeah.
what you learned, but as you grow more as an artist, it's almost like you want to do more.
Mm-hmm.
So now, like putting my own twist on things to where she would never even imagine that could be done.
Yeah.
That's
But
cool.
to know that if I gave it to her, she would love it.
That's awesome.
So that's
Yeah.
like my prerequisite in my mind. It's like I can't make nothing that I don't think she would like.
To
Mm-hmm.
honor her. Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
It's awesome.
and it keeps me on my p's and q's to where I've never had a complaint.
Set the standard for you.
So
Did she
definitely,
raise you?
yeah, she definitely did. Yep,
Okay.
she was my
Awesome.
primary child care. Like my
Yeah.
mother was around, but that the Reaganomics,
Yeah.
got caught up in a lot of that stuff, and
And I
she
was.
wasn't around as much, but I still had a
Yeah.
mother. Same thing for my father. Kind of got caught up in the streets doing too much.
Mhm.
So she was there to just kind of fill in the blanks
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
step to the forefront.
I was gonna say too. If I'm thinking about the timeline, right? Probably, that era that she and my grandparents and my parents really grew up in was not about health food at all.
No.
Or
No.
what they thought was health food really wasn't. Like you could
Mm-hmm.
get like fat free cheese or fat free this or that or whatever. I guess it's just lack of knowing or understanding at that point. But really, the whole FDA and the way agriculture and the government kind of married
Mm-hmm.
at that time, post
Yeah.
depression and pushed so many things. Like, for example, did you know that there's still caves that the government keeps cheese in because they overproduced so much cheese sometime in the 80s?
No, I did not know
Yes,
that.
there's government cheese caves. I learned about this actually on TikTok, and I looked it up. It's true. But
Wow.
that whole situation is so messed up. The way the government deals with
But
food.
even that was considered cheese food. It's kind of like Velveeta, like it's
Right,
a
right.
cheese product. It's not
They can't
cheese.
legally call it cheese. Yeah, exactly. Are
So
you
like
100% vegan?
like yes, but
Okay.
like to go back to that era, that's
Yeah.
what we have to look for. Is like they were giving us wick,
Right.
Right.
so it's like powdered milk. Remember certain stores like A&P and ShopRite. I don't know if y'all can remember those stores from up north, but A&P, ShopRite, Food Town, those were some of the big stores in New Jersey, and for as far as supermarkets. But they had subsidized programs, so like you said, you could get a block of cheese, you could get powdered milk, you might even get, if it was formula that was giving you the Similac.
Yeah.
What else? There's a few other things, but I was going to say no frills.
Right.
They had a brand that was no frills.
Yeah. It's just black and white containers.
Yeah,
Just say
no
milk,
frills.
cheese. Yeah.
Yeah. And then right around that same time, you had the microwave come out. So how could we be healthy when we're eating like government experiments, right? Because this is the first time that they even canned this food and did these certain things. It's like an experiment.
Right, really.
And then you got the microwave coming out. So you're eating everything nuked all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I remember when the microwaves came out. That's what I'm saying.
I do too. I do too. And I know Dreamwaker over here, he doesn't know. He doesn't remember. That was before his time.
And then just like all of the TV dinners that came with that.
TV dinners, listen, Dreamwaker, every night it was TV dinners almost. It was like this little sad little like a mess kit almost. Just like you had a section of nuggets and pudding and whatever other like horrible like that was dinner. But when the
little
microwave,
bit of frozen corn,
exactly. Our microwave when we
dinners, you know.
Our first microwave was so big and so loud, and you turned a dial, and it was like. I probably got cancer from that right there, but.
And that's my point, right? Like, so eating nuked food for the first time. Yeah. And like all of the products, like Hungry Man Swanson and all of these different TV dinners were coming out. Like you said, after a while, they figured out how to put a dessert so you could get the little brownie or the little apple crisp.
I remember.
Right, so you got a full dinner in your mind.
Yeah.
And the parent is thinking, I'm so busy working a job, it would be easier for me to get, 10 TV dinners and 3 nights this week we eat those or whatever. So. Yeah, it definitely was a time of like almost our worst as a country because it was so many experiments.
Right.
Yeah. And everyone's tired because they're working 3 jobs or whatever, or running around. I remember my mom running around in heels from dusk to dawn. And then the government's like, well, you're tired? Here, have some crack.
Exactly. This will definitely lift you back up. Yeah, you need some energy. It'll give you a boost, a jolt. Remember they had a soda called Jolt?
I do. I do remember that. That was like the pre what's the one that they had that was like an energy drink and alcohol mixed together.
Oh
like a
Four
Red
Loco.
Bull or
Four Loco. Four Loco.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And even Zima's, like all of that, like clear beer. Remember when the Zima's hit?
Yeah, that shit was wild.
I don't remember that. I think I missed that one.
Like all of that. Well, Zima's was early 90s, I think.
Yeah.
All of that was experiments, is what I'm saying. It was like they was trying.
They had clear Pepsi.
They didn't know what it was.
Let's see if you guys can survive clear beer.
Yeah, clear beer sounds scary. This sounds terrible.
And they put flavor in it too. It was like a little flavor to it too.
Oh,
I never tried it.
Zimas were like a fad. Like they came in really strong, especially for teens. It was like the coolest way to drink.
They used to market like cigarettes to teenagers. I remember.
Definitely.
And all kinds of stuff. Liquor.
Yeah, Newport Box.
All your favorite rappers were doing ads for St. Ides, ads for Newports, ads for Camel.
Right.
Like on TV, on daytime TV. It was wild.
Yep. You're definitely right. But that was kind of the first time for that too. I mean, before that, you had like Billy D. Williams, who was doing like Colt 45.
Yeah.
You want a woman that's going to love you for the rest of your life. Get you a nice cold.
I want to
45.
say
You know
shout
what
out
I'm
to
saying?
him and shout out to Rex too, by the way. That we
And he was
briefly
so
mentioned.
cool. Yeah. Rex
Billy
is
D.
definitely.
Williams.
Yeah, I got nothing but love for Rex,
Both of
man.
them.
Doing,
They're both
he's
cool.
doing the good work.
Yes.
Rex is doing the good work.
He's a cool guy. And we appreciate
Shout
him.
out to him. Him and wifey had came to my retreat. They brought the couples package and were
Nice.
actually the first hip hop couple to ever come to my whole healer holistic retreat in the mountains. And I do different ones, like different seasons would do different types of retreats, but historically speaking, that was the first time I had a hip hop couple buy a ticket and come and totally engage with everything, and we had a great time. I remember we had to play charades, and like Rec had to go outside the cabin, and his charade was he sprained his ankle. And it was like, well, he has to come in now and like he has to act like he sprained his ankle. He has to tell everybody he sprained his ankle. But from an herbalist standpoint, we had just trained the room on what to do if you have a sprained ankle and you only have herbs. So that was just one of the best times I can remember with him of how we laughed so hard as he acted, this whole scene out. Like, oh, my legs messed up, bro. You know what I'm saying? I was running and I slipped on the hill and, my ankles messed up. And then he had to hobble over to the couch and then raise his foot up and sit there. And now he's decaying. So it's like, all of y'all take care of me.
So is this like for couples? It's like couples therapy?
I have couple tickets when we do the retreats.
Okay.
But then I'll have like individual tickets. Right? So I've sold
what
couple
is the
tickets
retreat?
before. I mean, all of the retreats sold out, but I'm just saying I never had a hip hop couple. Like, like you guys do hip hop. You know what I mean?
What is the retreat? Is it like a health retreat? Is what I'm wondering.
Yeah, we call it whole healer, kind of like the holistic mindset we were talking about. But we call it whole healer retreat. And as an herbalist, I teach different concepts on how to take care of ourselves. So different retreats, it'll be different concepts, but one concept might be first aid. So that was the one that Rec was at when we did a lot of the first aid type of stuff and teaching how to make a certain poultice to put on the foot or a certain type of foot soak to soak the sprained ankle in. Or a certain tincture you could take that'll help build back up the tendons.
I gotcha. Now I see why all this like the role playing was going on.
And then during that same retreat, I would cook all of the food, plant based, and then we also do gemstone wrapping too. So everybody leaves with a pendant, and everybody leaves with medicine that they made throughout the weekend.
Oh, that's cool.
Kind of how it goes.
Yeah. So is that kind of like almost like a survivalist / like a healing sort of spa? And I want to say spa, but kind of like a spa type retreat. Like you're learning skills that you might need in case of whatever sort of event, but also you're kind of, detoxing in a way.
That's right. Yeah, to get away from the city or metropolitan areas.
Right.
Right, and get into the North Georgia mountains, which will actually be doing something in the North Carolina mountains too, probably Asheville soon.
Okay.
But in the past, it's mostly been North Georgia mountains, and they're so close when you think about Asheville's like 3.5 hours from Atlanta. It's not like the average thought of how far North Carolina is from Atlanta, right?
Right. I was just in Denver, and that's where I grew up, and people think that the mountains are like right there, but it's a good drive if you really want to be in the mountains, and it's about 2 to 3 hours.
Exactly.
So same
2 to 3 hours, and but you get a chance to really reset. Like you could see deer, you could see bunny rabbits, right? It's like on your ride to the cabin. You're Oh, I see a bunny rabbit. You know what I'm saying? I see some deer. You might even see a
Yeah.
bear or something, right? And then you get to the cabin and you would see all of the good things too. Like we usually have it where to have a jacuzzi or a pool or something, and it might even be a pool table or something like that, where everybody could kick it for a minute
Yeah.
before we go into a
Right.
learning state.
Okay.
Um, it also helps people reset as far as diet, like the
Mhm.
style that I cook. So it helps you get away from metropolitan. It helps you kind of reset as far as if you're not comfortable with how you're eating. Um,
You're just
right?
detoxing from everything, like the noise of the
All
city,
of
and
that.
like all the
Exactly. You
stress and
get it. Yep.
yeah, definitely. How can people like if they wanted to sign up for that? How can they contact you or
Yeah, everything is basically King's Apron.
okay?
Um, so whether that's, just depending on what medium these people are on, um, if
They
it's
could just
TikTok,
message you.
yeah, yep. If it's
Okay.
Instagram, my website is kingsapron.com. On Facebook, King's Apron.
Okay.
Um, we have other pages too, like YouTube, LinkedIn. We don't use those as much, but we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and then the
I,
website. But everything would be under King's Apron.
I did put your socials in the description of the video, and I just updated this here to put kingsapron.com if anyone's interested in doing that retreat, which sounds pretty nice, especially if you're in the Atlanta area because it's close by, and Atlanta's a big city. You
But
know.
we've had people travel from New York, Philadelphia, Chicago,
Yeah, Rex is in Jersey, isn't he? Also.
um, California. We've
Yeah.
had people fly in for the retreat. Um,
Yeah.
just because what we offer, you can't really find it around the country,
Right. And the
right?
Georgia mountains are beautiful, aren't they? I mean, I've never been, but I've heard that
Oh,
they're
they're there. The Blue Ridge Mountains are beautiful, but that's the thing is that it's all Blue Ridge technically. So in the
yeah.
future, we'll be doing more in the North Carolina area,
Okay.
but it's still technically all the same mountains.
Yeah, the
Like
same mountain range, right?
yeah, the range, right?
Yeah. Have you been to Arkansas? I mean, I haven't. I'm not gonna say that I would live in Arkansas, but I've been to the Ozarks and around like the Crystal Caverns and the caves they have there. It's amazing. If you've never been.
Oh man, yeah, I've never been there yet. I know it's fire though. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the caves that we went to were like I can't remember how many feet deep, but it was just wall to wall, just gemstones. It was an amazing energy and just like cold
Wow.
when it was like 90 degrees outside. But
Yeah, I would definitely want to go check that out at some point.
now Dreamwaker just dipped out and he came back because his head was hurting. Do you have
Okay.
any like remedy suggestions for that, just off the top of your head?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of things I would say. Just like accessibility, I would say maybe just a little ginger tea. If just like a lot of people just keep ginger for cooking purposes. Um, so ginger tea would be good. I would say you could put just a little bit of cayenne pepper in a glass of water. It's going to be a little peppery, but if you could drink that, like the capsaicin will help the blood flow and just get more blood to the brain and bring the nutrients back.
So technically, he could do
I
like
always say drink a glass of water, right, just to make sure
yeah,
that we're hydrated that way. And then from
he's
an
got it.
herbalist standpoint, I'd say like, oh, I can't forget massage, right? Massage your temples, maybe.
Yeah.
But
Isn't it like
standpoint,
acupressure wise? Isn't it like you're in between your thumb and your index finger?
I never got too much into that. I do love acupuncture, but I'm not too sure about the exact positioning on that. But
Acupuncture is fascinating
I
too.
was saying white willow bark.
Okay.
So white willow bark is the herb that aspirin was made after.
That's why they call it aspirin. Absolutely. Yep.
And there's a certain type of acid that's found in, I can't remember the exact name of the acid, but it starts with like an A, like acetylene acid or something.
Mm-hmm.
but it's that compound that's found within the white willow bark that's really the active component to fighting the so-called pain or migraine. And then if you look at aspirin, you'll see that that same acid is in the aspirin.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's
So, but white willow bark is what was used before aspirin was a company, right?
mhm.
Yeah.
So I would say keep some white willow bark in the house. It's bitter, and you could take just a teaspoon of white willow bark, 2 to 3 cups of water, simmer the herb in the water for about 10 minutes, strain it, and you can drink on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm.
It'll take effect quicker than the aspirin, technically. It's just the prep time of the tea will take you extra 10 to 15 minutes to make the tea. But after you actually drink it down, a cup of it, it works. Like within 20 minutes, you should definitely feel
Better.
some type of
Yeah.
like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It might not be all the way gone, and then give it another 20 minutes, and it's out the door.
Mhm. Have some relief.
I'm trying to find. I'm sorry for the ruckus. Okay, so these are okay. Speaking of Arkansas, these are some of the stones or gemstones, whatever crystals that I found in Arkansas. I don't know if you can see this too good. Pardon my nails.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
What
Familiar,
is this?
kind of
I was
purplish
curious about
bluish.
this. Yeah,
It's
I know
just,
it's not.
you know, I'm not on my computer, right? I'm on my cell, so my
Okay, it's
screen
probably
is a
hard to
little
see.
small. I can't really see it good.
Uh-huh.
It's not like an amethyst, but it's a very like purpley.
I'm gonna
It might be like the lepidolite. If you're saying purple, could be fluorite. Comes in purple.
I
Fluorite
think
comes
there's
in
a
a bunch
lot
of
of
colors.
fluorite up there, so that might be
Yeah.
what it is.
I know there's a lot of fluorite in Texas too. I had some friends that I went to school with. I went to a school for jewelry in North Georgia mountains, and I met some people from out of town. But they were saying how much fluorite is in. I don't know if they said Houston or Austin. I think they said Houston, but it's a lot of fluorite in Texas too. But the lepidolite, the fluorite. There was another one that I just. Oh, chariot light. It's like the word chariot. But
Yeah, I've seen
that
that.
one's purple. So it's probably one of those.
What is fluorite good for as far as like just having around or, you know, how different?
That's the beauty about fluorite is that
Mhm.
a lot of the gemstones, like for instance, malachite's good for, and then before we even say what it's good for, how we get part of what it's good for is based off of the color that it resonates.
Okay.
Right.
So if malachite is green, then we say that pairs with the heart chakra,
Right.
which is green, but in certain systems we'll say pink as well.
Okay.
So like this would work for the heart as far as the color that it radiates. This is a dolomite I was working on.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
But the same way like malachite. So to answer your question about the fluorite, that's why it's such a vast amount of what fluorite's known to do, because it can come in so many different shades. Like I've seen fluorite that had 5 and 6 colors in one stone.
Yeah, I have several that are like green.
Or you can just have something that's green, or something that's kind of more purpley, or something that's purpley but it's like a bluish purple, or it could be almost close to clear with just little. But once again, we kind of normally start with what color does it have, so like, and then we, you know, from there, that's how we kind of gauge what it's known to do.
I got you.
So fluorite is just, it could do a whole lot because of the range of colors, is my point. It's just like quartz. You know, quartz, you got clear quartz, then you got rose quartz, then you got milky quartz, then you got smoky quartz, then citrine is technically a quartz. Amethyst is technically a quartz. So, you know,
I have a big, nice piece of the amethyst.
So you have so many different colors, right? Like,
yeah.
So then it's like, well, what does it do? It just more depends on that resonation, what color it's resonating. is a
What do you
big
think?
part of what the stone would do.
Okay.
Okay.
So you look at basically if a layman was trying to figure this out, you look at like say a chart that shows your chakra colors and go from there.
Actually, hold on one second. I mean, I have some stuff behind me that's probably harder to see, but
Okay. Do you like my Ice Spice video? Dreamwaker?
I did. That was hilarious. I almost
Did you
thought
see her? She was at some concert. It was I think it was the same concert actually, and she's like twerking, and she looks so bored and just dead. Like she's like, oh, okay, here I go.
no,
And
I
then,
didn't like that.
yeah, when she gets back up, she's like, okay.
so even this is a
I'll pull it
bigger
up.
one that I keep in classes.
Oh wow, yeah, that's huge.
But yeah, it breaks down a whole lot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it goes over crystal colors and, like you said, the different chakras. And then it even goes into mudras. And it has a lot more on here. But this is something like I would bring to the retreat or class.
Okay.
But then this is a smaller, much different version, but still
Yeah.
kind of gives you the same mindset
Mhm.
of just dealing with colors,
Together.
the body, and the healing side of it.
So you don't find a lot of stones or whatever that are the lower part of the body. I think the more common ones you find are towards the top, which is interesting.
Well, the thing is, it doesn't always have to be red. So a lot of the black, brown, and gray
Right.
Yeah.
still tend to work for like the root chakra as well.
Okay.
But they're like you're right. There's not a whole lot of like when we just talk about the root chakra being red.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of red stones.
Like rubies
you
and
got like rubies
Yeah.
and even sapphires are technically rubies. They're just blue though.
Oh.
But then you have like more red would be like something like a garnet.
yeah, I forgot about
You could
that.
even get like that would be the main one, but certain carnelians kind of can get so darky that
Yeah,
they
yeah.
have a reddish tint more than an orange. So like garnet and carnelian, because I have some carnelian that's like reddish orange carnelian.
Yeah, when I was like in
Not a lot.
third
Yeah.
grade, maybe third or fourth grade, we went panning for gold. Like
I
we were
remember-
Wild West prospectors in the Colorado River or the Platte River. That was in Denver. But I found like a pretty sizable piece of garnet, and I still have it somewhere.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a good find actually. But yeah, so let's talk about hip hop for a second. You do rap also. I think you're kind of like me in the sense that you keep your music a little low key. Is that right?
I mean, yeah, at this point, it's just like I do so many other things. I don't really have the capacity to promote music.
Right.
Right, because that's a lot of work. Music
You know what I
promotion
mean?
is a lot of work.
And then, like, I had a deal with Soul Spasm. One of my last projects, they picked it up, but it didn't do well because the brother that helped me shoot the videos, the dude's computer crashed. He lost most of the videos we shot.
Oh my god.
Now Soul Spasm's like, yo, I need the next video to promote the next single.
Yeah.
And so that was my last like situation. But yeah, I used to ghostwrite too. So I ghostwrite.
Oh really?
Like, platinum hip hop artists. So that was part of it too. Like while I'm ghostwriting, I just don't have the capacity to.
Because he's done that too. Where am I?
Work on this level, and then still pursue my career on that level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, my oldest child, who is an adult now, is 25. So you got to kind of keep that in mind too. Of like over the years, I've been focusing on family,
Right,
as well. So it just all of those different things definitely take time and energy.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it's like, how much more time do you have to promote?
Right.
I gotta applaud you though. When I first started following you, and I gotta say it was probably like 7 years ago, 6-7 years ago, maybe, on TikTok. The quality of your videos and everything, I guess the production level of it has gone up so much that it's pretty impressive. I gotta say, I don't know if
I
you do it all yourself.
definitely appreciate it. I look at it like hip hop. Like like when I first got online, I just was kind of like everybody else. It's just like, okay, this is a cool thing we could do. But then when I really started to look at a video, I'm like, oh, so the same way Primo could chop a beat, or Pete Rock could chop a beat, or Kanye could chop a beat. I mean, and we know sampling techniques and what drums to sample from. But do you sample the drum pattern or just the kick and the snare?
Yeah.
Right.
Right? Do you sample the strings from the record and the piano? Or do you sample the vocal part? Or do you sample it all? And like, how much of each do you sample? Do you sample enough like Ninth Wonder to where you could barely understand where I got it from?
Yeah, yeah.
Or am I going to pull the Kanye and let the sample play to where you know where I got it from?
Or like a DJ Mustard. Yeah.
I look at video editing like that now.
Okay.
It's like, what do I want to shoot? So how much of a scene that I might have smudge in it, or how much of a scene where I'm moving my hand to wrap something, just like grabbing the sample. It's like, what do I want? I want to come out with a dope joint, though. Like, that's always been hip-hop. Like, whether it was a rhyme or a beat, or you're like, yo, the joint got to be fire, right? It's like the mindset of I got to get mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it puts me in even a more of a hip-hop mindset of knowing that, because I'm a competitive person because of hip-hop. Hip-hop's made me competitive. So it's almost like when somebody say, you want that smoke? Yes, I want that smoke. I definitely want that smoke.
He wants to smudge.
And to know that everyone has a camera.
Right.
So
I'm
we
the same
all
way.
have the same means. But who could use the camera in a certain way that is really interesting to you? Right?
Yeah.
It's like, so that's part of the art. It's the same thing for a chef that could take squash and turn it into a casserole.
Right.
Where the average person might just boil it. You know, so I look at it like that now. Like 30 seconds of a video.
You got to pack all that information in that.
Pieces? Yeah, like how can you chop, reconstruct it, make it make sense in a short amount of time, just like a verse. It gotta be fire though.
Yeah.
Like that's my mindset. You know what I mean? It gotta be fire though. So
did you have any like hip hop inspirations as far as like your path to holistic healing or even nutrition wise? Like was there anybody inspiring you along the way in music?
Well, I mean, I think we gotta give props to KRS-One. Just because he had the song Beef. And I didn't get it then, though. And I know some of my older brothers, they got it. You know what I mean? Like they understood what he was saying then. Yeah. I didn't get it then. I had to come back to revisit it. But when you get a chance, look the song up, listen to it. And he basically talks about the beef industry. So it's like that documentary, What the Health? I don't know if you've seen that. It's kind of like the other one was called Cowspiracy.
Yeah, I've seen. I think I've seen snippets of that one, and there's so many.
They're both made by the same director too. What the Hell and Cowspiracy, same person. Directed those.
The snippets I've seen were pretty disturbing.
Yeah, but I was just saying because they did go viral. So people might know about them. But my point is, what you've seen in that. He basically put it in a song in 3 minutes, and he broke down the backside, the darker side of the meat industry.
Yeah,
I'm gonna play a snippet of it. I'm gonna play a snippet.
Rap song, right? So definitely KRS-One because of that, and past him, as far as hip hop, I can't really give a whole lot of shout outs. I think the shout out to give is just that because we're dying under 50 when we talk about MCs,
Right.
and there's a lot health related. Like we talk about when somebody got shot. It's
Yeah.
like from my era, more people died from health reasons before
Right.
50 than they got shot
Right.
Yeah. We
in
had
hip hop. Yeah.
Bernadette Price on, the widow of Sean Price, talking about how hard he was pushing himself, before he passed, and how that was detrimental to his health. He was just working, 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 not eating the healthiest, and not taking care of himself like he should have been, and
That's right.
you're
Hip
right.
hop,
It's a,
hip hop has always been an oxymoron, though. And like, no disrespect, but I personally know Ma Dukes, Maureen Yancey, that's the homie. I used to run the J Dilla chapter for her in Atlanta.
wow.
We've done work outside of my city and inside of my city. So
Hmm.
she knows, no disrespect. We've already talked about this, and but I'll say something like Jay Dilla. It's like I've always wondered if this man had lupus, and it's like, but like one of his most so-called infamous albums, because I love them all throughout. But
Hmm.
certain people are like, man, when he did that Donuts, man, it's like that Donuts was crazy. Like Dilla was crazy way before Donuts, but
Right.
I'm just looking at that concept of like, and he really liked donuts. You know what I mean? So I was just like, but you have lupus though.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
Right.
I'll just talk about like taking perk 30s too, and stuff like that
Well,
without
yeah,
it.
that's the new stuff. Like, yeah, so
Yeah.
that's like the generation under me that's doing more
Yeah.
of that. Um, and even like I was saying, I got children that are adults, right? So my daughter, she about to be 26. That's more of like her age
Generation.
group, and then the one right after. But
Yeah.
a lot of us, though, we were just once again drinking Zimas,
Yeah.
Saint Ives, different types of malt liquors that were terrible. Black and Miles, Beaties, Newports,
Yeah.
um, too much weed,
Yeah.
staying up too late,
And clove
not getting enough
cigarettes.
sleep,
Yeah.
eating a lot of fast food.
Uh-huh.
I mean, just that alone will take you out before 50.
Right.
Right.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and then when you start adding drugs like drugs like perks and
It's
stuff,
to me the whole
I
perk
mean
30
that's
thing.
just a whole nother.
It's
Yeah,
crazy because we just had an opioid crisis, and
Right.
it's
I
gonna be
know
crisis after crisis. Yeah, exactly, because it's all money, so it's gonna be crisis after crisis. Yeah,
it's like we didn't learn anything at
and
all.
anything that's isolated in nature is technically a drug anyway. So like if we talk about cocaine, then where does cocaine come from again?
Right.
Coca leaf.
The coca leaf, so it comes from a plant.
Right.
So it's not the plant, it's when we separate, so we isolate the plant, and now you have a powder called cocaine.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing for anything. It's like,
Oh, caffeine.
if
Yeah.
that's exactly, so if that's right for cocaine, then let's do opium. So where does opium come from?
Right.
Poppies.
The poppy, right? So another
Yeah.
plant, but it's not the poppy, it's when you isolate. So the poppy's technically not illegal. The coca
Mm.
plant's technically not illegal.
Yeah.
But when you isolate this and create this so-called product,
Yeah.
then
Like
that's
DMT.
considered a drug. But then that's when it's considered a drug.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm just saying, if we're going to say that, then the sugar cane, when it's separated and now it's sugar, that is a drug.
That is
Yep.
big time a drug.
Wheat,
Sugar.
when you take a wheat plant and you separate it and make flour, now that is a drug. So
Yeah.
this is what America doesn't understand. Like, if we're looking at drugs, by definition, what a drug is when these components are isolated and you create a product out of it.
Yeah.
Right.
That would go the same for sugar, flour, and other food products. And that's the
Mhm.
main drug that they got us on,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely.
But we
Yeah.
act like there's these other drugs. It's
The
like the
ones
first
that have
drugs we need to be worrying about is the food. Like, how much meat do
definitely.
you eat in a day? How much sugar do you eat in a day?
Yeah,
Sugar is crazy what it does to you.
it
But
is.
I'm gonna play a
Super
snippet.
crazy.
I want to play
Yeah.
a snippet of this KRS song real quick. Okay, I'm gonna stop there so we don't get a copyright strike. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but you know, he
that
broke it down right there. You know what I'm saying? He
yeah,
talking about
that was good timing.
21 different things the cows injected with, and how the head is removed and put into a cart and then shipped off to the supermarket. I
There's
mean,
something too about like I remember seeing a lot of where the adrenaline that the animal experiences when you kill it.
oh yes,
If you're putting it through this torture of being strung up and going through the factory and everything, all
and
that
the
can release through
adrenaline
the
might be
body.
a benefit to us, but I think what really translates through the meat is more of the fear.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's the fear that that cow is going through because the cow has great sense.
Mm.
Great sense. They're not stupid at all.
No, cows are really
Right.
smart.
Yeah, really smart, right? So they understand what's going on, and even when they're about to get taken to the slaughterhouse, like they understand, okay, the day's the day I gotta die. So, you know, it's like the Green Mile, like to walk down this aisle to your
Yeah.
death.
That's trippy.
And then we eat, you know what I'm saying? Like,
The
right?
effects of that, yeah, that's
And
wild.
so, and cows are not, you know, they're not technically they're man-made. Like we got to be careful of like if we're going to eat animals, my advice would be to eat wild animals.
Like,
Yeah.
well, buffalo, I guess. Would you consider that?
Buffalo, turkey.
Yeah.
You just know
Now,
you never seen a
chicken.
turkey. That's why you never seen a turkey like a dozen of turkey eggs in the supermarket
Right.
because turkeys are wild in a sense. They're not. When I say wild, meaning they're not domesticated. Now they do try to domesticate the turkeys that, let's say, whatever company's selling for Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But technically, they're wild. Like a chicken was never wild. A chicken was animal husbandry. I take
Okay.
one animal, I take another animal, and I create an animal. Now we call that animal the chicken. So you can't find a wild chicken. You could find a wild turkey. You could find wild buffalo, right? Wild salmon. So I tell people if that's the case, you know, eat that. If you're going to eat animal, eat wild, and that's the more natural way.
Yeah.
And doing that, those products are less available, which come at a higher price point. So now it'll help you balance not eating as much meat. Because if you have to spend more for buffalo than you do for hamburger,
Right.
right? Or if you got to spend more for wild caught than you have to for tilapia, you know, it's like, man, this salmon is like $13.99 a pound. With the tilapia, I get it for $5.99 a pound.
Yeah. There's all this stuff about like the fish industry too. Like they'll say, "Oh, lobster used to be considered trash. Like lobster was for poor people."
Oh, definitely.
And then all of a sudden they decided, you know, lobster is expensive. I
Because
never knew.
basically lobsters are scavengers, so that
Yeah.
even though they taste so good, you know, it's what people say. I don't eat it, but
Shrimp are
I have
kind
had
of
it,
the
though.
same, right?
Yeah, I have had it, and
Yeah.
I can say that lobster is definitely tasty,
Yeah.
but they're scavengers. So it's just like a catfish or roach is a scavenger.
Ugh, don't say that, man. Because somebody said to me once that they're like arachnids in the ocean, and it
Yeah,
took me
pretty
a long
much.
time before I could get over that.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. But
I'm
they're
in
definitely
Louisiana too, and we eat crawfish, and crawfish are pretty much like the water equivalent of roaches.
Yeah.
yeah
I
scavengers.
don't,
Yep, for sure. Catfish are scavengers too. Yeah.
I don't think I can quit eating crawfish, but that's very influencing. It says the chicken is descendant of the Southeast Asian red jungle fowl, first domesticated in India around 2000 BC, and Cornish hen, blah blah blah. So I guess about 2000 BC they started. And it's kind of like how you can get a like a Chihuahua from a wolf.
I think it was the buzzard and the African jungle fowl.
Yeah, that's exactly what it said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And part of that reason is because the jungle fowl could move around the village almost like a domesticated animal would. It's like,
Right.
Okay.
because the thing about wild is that you have to catch it, and it don't want you to catch it.
Right.
It's gonna run. It might even fight you back, like a wild turkey. If you try to say, "Come here, turkey, let me get your eggs,"
Yeah.
a turkey might literally step on its own egg
Mm-hmm.
and
keep you
destroy
away.
it before it would allow you to have it.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Yeah, chickens and turkeys have like the lowest brain to body mass of like any animal, I think, from what I remember.
But when we talk about that chicken, it was because that fowl would it moved around to where it was easy to catch.
Right.
But it had a disgusting taste.
Right.
Oh.
But then
So
you
they
had the
improved it.
buzzard. You had the buzzard that was hard to catch. It flied high and it set up on rocks and it looked down.
Mhm.
But then it would come down and almost like a scavenger, it would eat all of the different animals, right? And then it
Yeah.
would so it tasted
Mind
so
possession.
tasty.
Mhm.
Like it has all of these good flavors, and the meat was it's the best. So they said, well, what if we take kind of like a domesticated mind animal, like an animal that would walk right in front of us so we can catch it.
Yeah.
And then we took something else that we can't catch often but tastes great. What if we made a bird, what they call poultry? What if
Yeah.
we made one? This is where chicken comes from. There is no
Right.
wild chicken. You cannot find it.
Wow.
You know, I'll tell you who
And the
health
same for
wise.
cow. I mean, it's the same thing.
True,
Any domestic animal, if it's domesticated, like what you buy in the supermarket,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's animal husbandry. Somebody made that.
Yeah, that's a whole career path, animal husbandry. But
It definitely is a career path. Yeah, it's a whole nother thing.
yeah, but no, I was thinking about like music influence on your holistic health or your diet and stuff. And when I was in college, when I first started, like I was on my own for the first time, and I listened to a lot of Wu Tang before I went to college. But I gotta say, like RZA, Killer Priest, there's some others and I can't think of them right now, but those are the main two that they talk about food and meditation and yoga and stuff like that in their
That's
lyrics
right.
a lot, and that was a huge influence on me growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that
I say
heavy
growing
mental
up.
album. Well, yeah, Killer Priest. I mean, I used to love him. That first album he had put out, and that
That's my favorite album of his.
Yeah, Basic Instructions Before Leaving Earth. All of those songs was just golden.
Yeah.
Same thing with RZA's first Liquid Swords. It's crazy, and like
Yeah.
them joints definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know if it helped me with the food as much as it did with just opening my mind.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It was like they just were different and like thinking about things that I wasn't used to people thinking about.
Yeah.
Right.
And they would probably credit the 5% community with a lot of their
I agree.
thoughts.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally.
But for me, being a kid from Colorado, it was pretty revolutionary,
Mhm.
And then there was a lot of people that were like kind of hippies and people that were like me that were into backpack rap that
Yeah.
were picking up on stuff like that. But yeah, it was out there for us.
That's
Mm-hmm.
right.
Anyway, I appreciate you coming on. I think we've passed our hour mark for you. I don't know if you got other stuff to do, but if anyone wants to find your music, do you want to promote it at all, or?
Yeah, I would say at this point, I'll be putting some more stuff out in the future.
Okay.
But once again, if you want to get any of my old music, I'd tell you just to find it.
Yeah.
Do we want to say that
find
Methuselah,
it.
right?
It's almost like a producer has to dig for the record. Like
I'm gonna
if you really want to listen to something I did in the past, I'd tell you to find it.
So you want me to leave it a mystery? Because I was going to put your rap name out there.
Well, that's the thing is I don't think I have more than one. So you would have to find it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to leave it then.
He's a fantastic crate digger, so challenge yourself.
Yeah.
But what I will say is in the future I'll be
like
putting out some more. I have a song with Rex. I'm about to do something with
Oh, really?
Shabam Shadiq and a few other people.
I love Shabam
Hopefully, I
City. Yeah. All
hopefully
right.
I'll do something else with J.R. Robinson. I just did something with Nejma. I'm
Okay.
definitely looking to do something else with Planet Asia,
Nice.
something else with Casual,
Mm-hmm.
and then just a few songs on my own. But
Yeah.
I'm at the point of making my own beats now, so
Hey,
See,
that's what's
and
up.
you're downplaying all the music side of it, but you're very intertwined in the hip hop community, and you're working with these big name artists that are
oh
like
yeah, I mean I've
legends.
known.
Like,
The thing is, like as an MC, I always like anything else I do. I just had to be real serious with it.
you're
So
right,
like
right.
over the years, I've met some of the best MCs
Clearly.
because I had to do shows for them. Like I opened up for Joey Badass before he blew up. I opened up
Shoot.
for
We might
Madlib.
need to talk more after this.
I opened up for Madlib, Joey Badass, Snoop
Nice.
Dogg,
Hell yeah.
Master Killer, Currency, Bone Crusher, KRS One. Like
Wow.
I have a list of 100 artists that I've opened up for, like
That is so dope.
Sky Zoo back in the day.
I'm gonna
Um,
put this out in the universe. KRS-One is literally, I've felt this way since forever. My dream interview. Like, even if I could just talk to him on the phone or whatever for like
Yeah,
2 minutes,
that would be really
I
cool.
would
I
like.
don't know him
I could,
too well, but I
yeah.
did open up for him. I
Hmm.
do know personally Minister Server,
Okay.
who used to, I think he did some road management work for him and he helped
Yeah.
him with the Temple of Hip Hop. And there was an artist in Atlanta named Issues that
Okay.
used to tour with KRS-One for about a year or two at some
Issues.
point. And Issues, it's
Okay.
Issues,
Okay.
Issues.
Okay.
And so between them two, I might be able to, do a little reaching out and say, hey, my peoples want to try to get KRS-One, but I don't personally know him. I know I
Right.
smashed the show though when I had opened up for him.
Yeah. Dude, that would be phenomenal. Like, that would be one of these things where, like, okay, Lord, just take me now. I'm done. I got it. That's what I needed. So,
That's right.
yeah, that's cool. Definitely. We appreciate that. Everyone, please go check out King's Apron on all the platforms. If you're interested in the retreat, if you're living the city life and you need to get away, you can just direct message him on everything. Um, and it's everything from, like we talked about, crystal and metal effects on the body, meditation, nutrition. What else am I missing?
I mean, I do a lot. I garden too. I do, and like
Mhm.
forage and so it's a bunch of stuff, but I try
Yeah.
to share a little bit of all of these different things, online so that people can kind of see the gambit or like what are some of the pieces that I could possibly, what I mean, just
Yeah. And you
uh,
do custom pieces, right? As far as the jewelry and stuff. Like, I saw you do custom waist beads,
yep,
um,
yep,
and
custom
things like
waist
that.
beads, fedoras, pendants, and the customs are definitely going to slow down a little bit, but I open
Okay.
them up during certain seasons and then shut it down during certain seasons. So like
Get them while they're
during the
hot,
winter time,
people.
I probably won't be doing any customs, but
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm working on some new equipment. I'm about to have a furnace to where I can like start to cast metal
Oh,
and
Mhm.
wow.
create all types of different. I wish I would have had some of that stuff in here to show y'all, but it's out there. But yeah, I'm gonna be casting all types of. We're gonna bring back a lot of the indigenous stuff. So you got stuff from the Kush empires, stuff from Cherokee tribe, because wifey is Cherokee.
Oh, really?
Uh,
Um, so yeah, stuff from Cherokee tribe, stuff from ancient Africa, so-called, or the Kemet part of it,
Mm-hmm.
um, but through jewelry and not
Mm-hmm.
wire wrapping, but like pendants and certain types of rings that kind of remind you of like a Slick Rick type of ghost face
mhm.
style of jewelry, but
Nice.
but more with an indigenous twist to it.
Oh, that's perfect. I can't wait to see that. Is that out now?
Well, no, this is what I
From
just went to school for,
Okay.
and I'm just in the process of finalizing buying the last of the equipment I would need. Which one of them is a furnace. But in the next 2-3 weeks, I plan on making these purchases and kind of expanding on the jewelry. And then I can't do as many customs, as we, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
Everyone go check them out. King's Apron on all the platforms and kingsapron.com.
Thank you.
We appreciate you coming on so much. It was awesome. Stay in touch. And yeah, everyone, I don't have my soundboard.
Yeah, I'm about to do some, every night I see spaceships every night.
For real.
I'm weird, but every night. And it's usually about an hour after last light is when I see the greatest amount of activity.
Really?
So I got to go outside by 10:15, and I'm going to take my sons out there and let them do a little bit of fireworks. And
okay.
Yeah, we're about to just shut it down like that tonight. Go out with a bang for real.
Watch out for SpaceX.
Yeah, right.
Firing stuff off left and right.
Is SpaceX that trail?
I don't know what they do. They do something where it's like it looks like they're blowing smoke rings, I think, but it's actually like they're launching a sub rocket. I don't know. There's an app. Yeah,
because there was this one thing I seen, but I seen it 2 different days, and it was like a trail. It was the craziest shit. Like when you look at it, you was like, "Oh my god, what is that?"
Yeah.
And when I looked it up, they said it was some type of special satellite that does this and that.
What are they even doing up there? Is my question.
Twice.
Everyone keeps dismissing all this stuff like, oh, that's SpaceX. But what are they doing up there in the atmosphere? Like so much of everyone around the world is seeing it all the time. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen this SpaceX trail thing twice.
Yeah.
And but every night, unless it's because some nights it could get a little cloudy, it could get a little gray.
Yeah.
But when it's a dark night,
yeah,
I find one at least. I found up to 20. I just got off a plane last week. Like I know the difference between an airplane and something that's unidentified.
Yeah.
But I see unidentified objects nightly.
Here's an example, I guess, of well, ignore the caption, but this is SpaceX.
It looked something like that, but it was definitely more rings. It was like
Look, if I saw like that in the sky, even if I knew beforehand that I'd seen this on the internet, I'd still freak out. Like that's crazy. What is he doing?
Yeah, it's definitely crazy. Yeah.
What is it? Elon Musk needs to be stopped because, like, I don't really feel like Elon Musk should be allowed to just fire off whatever into the atmosphere. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like right now, it's like an agreement with anybody else, and I think that we have to realize that we're not the only species living on 2 legs.
On 2 legs?
Yeah, like we're not the only one. I mean, I know we're not talking about orangutans, and I'm just saying, right? So we're not, but then this is another thing. It's like to say someone would be an astronaut. I told the man he was already. He looked at me and said, "What do you mean?" "No, I want to be an astronaut." I said, "You already are." It's like when we really understand the Earth is moving through the galaxy, through the universe right now. Like we're in space right now.
Right.
And we're moving through space right now. But our perspective is, I'm in this room. I'm on this street. I'm in this house. But it's like you're moving through space right now. Right? So just to think that we're the only like species, human species or whatever. No, come on. You serious? Right. I mean, we can go into Shambhala and the inner earth and even more of what's here.
Yeah.
How many dimensions can you see on?
Right. Oh,
what is in another dimension that you can't see on, but it's still here, but you can't see it? How many timelines are there? Are there 2? Are there 9? So even just looking at that alone, but then when we go outside of in the galaxy, which is in a universe, flying through space, there's other planets that we know about and ones that we don't know about, but we're the only beings.
Yeah, seems kind of far fetched.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I'm just saying we got to realize that at some point, some of these other beings and some of us came into cahoots and we started working together. Some is for the good, some might be for the bad, but to not keep that into perspective, to only think about the Democrats and the Republicans and
Oh,
the
Lord,
police
yeah.
officers. You know, so I don't know. When we say Elon Musk, the type of technology that he's working on and things that he has, I believe that, because this goes into Bill Cooper, Behold the Pale White Horse. He spoke about all of this in his book.
Yeah.
And the different beings that they had. He talked about the underground facility where he said most buildings, high scrapers go 14 feet, 15 feet. This building, it went down. And it was like the first 7 floors were faculty and whatever you call them, staff. But then as you went more subterranean, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, that there were other beings that worked on those levels.
Yeah.
And that the humans were only allowed to go a certain level. So maybe it was like after level 10, humans aren't allowed.
Right.
But they tried to go down there anyway.
Because that's what humans do.
So they got in a fight. I'm saying, you can look in Bill Cooper's book. He breaks all of this stuff down.
I think I saw. Yeah,
he has so many documents, what they call classified documents.
Yeah, I remember hearing this story before too.
And they talked about Krill too. It was like one of the beings that they captured from like spaceship flying and falling. So they had what was it, Area 51, what was it called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So something like that. He said Area 51, so they had a spacecraft that fell with all of the members of the spacecraft, maybe 1 survived, maybe 2 survived.
Yeah.
So now they have the bodies that they're, what do you call, autopsy? Henrietta Lacks, Henrietta Lacks. So now they're taking the cells, but now they're taking our cells and they're animal husbandry.
Right. Come full circle with it, yeah.
All of this is being done. I mean, it's been done.
Yeah.
Yeah, for us to think that they wouldn't, if you can get, I can find a tomato that has fish cells in it.
Right.
They put the fish cells in it because they said that the storm was too strong for the tomato. So if we injected the cells of a fish, which loves water, you can't drown the fish. If you can eat a tomato that got fish cells in it.
Right.
You think they didn't take Area 51 DNA, slicing cells, and this is what they did with Henrietta Lacks.
Yeah.
They say, oh my goodness, her cells do not die.
It's like people are so willing to be like, no, the scientific community or whatever you want to call it. One thing I've learned the older I get is that the less I know, basically. Like the more I'm able to humble myself and realize I don't really know anything.
And that's the truth. That's the one thing that I think, as I say all of this, I feel like you tenfold. Because it's that those that say don't know and those that know don't say.
Right.
Yeah.
So I truly don't know, but I'm just saying what's common sense. It's like if you can find a tomato fish or a fish tomato, whatever you want to call it, why would you think that they didn't do it on every forefront possible,
Right, including humans.
You heard about
including humans,
the
right?
McDonald's
Including
potatoes. The I think Cat Williams talked about those recently, where they have McDonald's has like their own potato farms where they have a special breed of potatoes
Yeah, I
that
saw it.
and they spray them with so many chemicals that no one can go near the fields,
exactly.
and then they gather them up and then they carry them on a special truck that has to have like guards and stuff. That's just like the cheese caves. It's crazy. And then people are like, "Oh, well, the government wouldn't do that." Have you looked at what the government's been doing like the past
Exactly.
There's
100
not a-
Have
years?
you been looking? Yeah, have you been looking? Right. So it could go all the way to Tuskegee experiment. I mean, they've been like you said, the government cheese, like all of this was experiments.
Mm-hmm.
So to
Don't
sit
put it
here and
past
say that they won't experiment, it's like that's what they've been doing.
That's what they do.
You
Yeah,
know
it's
what I mean?
sad.
So we just got to be wise about the time that we have and what we choose to do with it at this point.
Absolutely. Like I said, bring it full circle.
Word is bond.
Well, we really appreciate you coming on. It was educational, it was entertaining, and you're always welcome back.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. Same to y'all, man. Nothing but love, good building with good people, and thank you for the opportunity.
Definitely. Well, everybody go check out King's Apron on all the platforms, and I guess that's a wrap.
Yard.
Pod.
Cat.
No sound effects. All right, folks. We will see you later. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.